Hello, it's Richard Pearse from FinextraTV, and I'm delighted today to be joined by Jessica Smith. Jessica is the Nature Lead at UNEP Finance Initiative. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you so much, Richard, for having me.
Well, you're welcome. We're doing our Finextra 2023 prediction series, but we're talking to people that were at COP in Montreal, COP15, the Biodiversity COP, and you're fresh back from there with a smile on your face. First of all, tell us a bit about your role in UNEP FI, and then go straight in to tell us how was COP for you.
Great. Well, I am tired but happy. It's been quite a marathon getting to this point. I lead work on nature at the UNEP Finance Initiative, as you mentioned. We have industry platforms for banking, insurance, and we work with the leading edge of the 5,000 principles for responsible investment signatories. So our banking platform, for example, represents half the world's banking assets, the principles for responsible banking, and our insurance platform, the principles for sustainable insurance, is a similar market share. So we're really working with the mainstream finance sector, and we're bridging the United Nations with private finance. So nature has been really an emerging issue for the financial sector, particularly in the last year or two, but it hasn't been at the same level of recognition or status as climate since the Paris Climate Agreement really got it on the agenda of finance. Now, we're extremely pleased that the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework was concluded. It is ambitious, it is comprehensive, it really takes a whole of society approach to the challenges of biodiversity loss and the importance to bend the curve of nature loss. So we had unprecedented interest, including a call from 150 private banks, insurers, and investors towards the COP to ask them to conclude an ambitious framework. So now that that's taken place, we do see enormous opportunities. The framework gives a very clear call to action, both in Goal D, the call for alignment of finance, which is like the Paris 2.1C, but more in detail in Target 19, which calls for increasing financial flows to nature. Also, Target 14 and 15 deal with redirecting finance away from harmful activities towards nature positive or nature restoration activities. So I think it's a very comprehensive, clear agreement. The call in Goal A to halt and reverse nature loss is sort of an apex target that we can rally around, and that can be broken down into metrics for terrestrial areas, freshwater, marine and coastal ecosystems. So I think it really will enable us to bring private finance to work towards Kunming-Montreal aligned portfolios the way that they have worked towards Paris aligned portfolios.
Fantastic.
So I could go on, but
no, listen, I don't want to stop you, but it's great to hear. But tell me, if you look at that lively expose of what's going on, and people could look at the text now with specific focus, as you've said, on those targets. But if you think about what that means now, because some of the targets are not quantitative, and those will obviously get grounded down into different jurisdictions, but what can the finance industry and the supplying data and tech industry think about as your predictions for 2023, building on what you've just described to us?
Yes, well, absolutely. What we need to be doing right now, and what we've already started work on, is boiling down what's in the framework into risks and opportunities for banking, insurance, investment from our perspective. So under the risk categories, there are certainly going to be new legal risks, new transition risks, changes that are, coming down the pipeline that, financial institutions need to be ready for as they become compliance issues. Then on the opportunities side, the transition towards nature positive economies will create new financial opportunities as well at the same time. Now, some of the goals and targets will create, real regulatory change in countries. Others will create new social expectations of what the private sector needs to be doing and, further sort of evolve our societies the way that, the Paris Climate Agreement created change in our societal expectations as well. So we are working with colleagues in each of these industries to try to boil this down for our members. But what we suggest that all financial institutions do right now is already look at your portfolios, assess what are your impacts, dependencies, and risks. So there are free tools out there like Encore, the Exploring Natural Capital Risks Opportunities Exposure tool. We also recommend that they already start piloting the TNFD beta framework, the Task Force on Nature-Related Financial Disclosures framework, in the high impact sectors or potentially sectors that have high opportunities for them. We want FIs to be getting ready to align their portfolios. So for banking, we already have draft guidance. We are bringing together a group of banks who will be updating this guidance with us, and a smaller group who will be fast tracking target setting. We're working across a whole bunch of different industry initiatives, including the Finance for Biodiversity Pledge, the Science Based Targets Network, and others. So all financial institutions, now that you know this is coming, we really recommend that you get involved in these platforms, if not already, and start to feed into the methodologies that are going to be used and that can be expected now to become mandatory in key jurisdictions and for large FIs and companies. We're also expecting major changes in the way that multilateral development banks are leveraging private finance. So there will be new opportunities for blended finance and other impact finance that will be coming down the pipeline. So we do think that there's a lot to do. We know people need a holiday, but after the holidays, we hope, all financial institutions are looking at these topics full tilt now that we know that there is a Paris level agreement for nature.
Fantastic. So the predictions for the sort of tech firms is, if you know that Paris level agreement is there, you know that the regulation will be coming over time into jurisdictions, you've got frameworks, as you've said, like TNFD, LEAP, etc. So then supplying the tools, the data, the financial instruments will be your predictions for people during course of 2023. Is that right?
Absolutely. And for tech firms in particular, I would zoom in on target 19 and the language around biodiversity credits, because many of the credits need, for example, blockchain technologies or other. Also, there's quite a lot of technological opportunities under target 15, the assessment and disclosure. There could be, reporting portals, data portals, scenarios, tools, all kinds of tech opportunities under that one. Also tech on opportunities around target 2 and 3 in terms of, restoration and protected areas, which will all need, new tech solutions to bring them to scale. So I do see an enormous, wave of new opportunities for the tech sector that they can be, capturing from now and in the 7 years ahead to 2030.
Fantastic. Well, look, it's so good of you to join us just before Christmas and straight out of the back of Montreal to give us that update and your real sense of optimism, which I think we all need going into Christmas at the end of this year. So have a fantastic rest, have a wonderful new year, and we hopefully can catch up on progress as it happens next year. So for now, Jessica, thank you for your time.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.